Germany, 1939.
It's beautiful, isn't it? The majestic peaks of the Bavarian Alps, shrouded in mist. Sunny summer days, cool water, laughter. The almost spiritual calm of falling snow. Scenes of a life of leisure, of privilege. Almost enviable. Children smiling. A man and his beloved dog. A wealthy family's vacation album kept for posterity. But this is not an ordinary holiday album, and this is not an ordinary family. The man playing with the dog is Adolf Hitler. The woman behind the camera, whose presence we feel in every frame, is his longtime mistress, Eva Braun. And the guests are the architects of a nightmare that would consume the world. These are the private home movies of the Third Reich's inner circle, filmed at the Berghof, Hitler's Alpine retreat. For decades, they were a ghostly glimpse into a world that should not have existed. And they force us to ask a deeply disturbing question. How can the same people who methodically planned the Holocaust and plunged the world into war seem so normal, so human? This is not a video about war tactics or troop movements. It is a psychological investigation. This is an analysis of the banality of evil. We will dive into the private world of monsters, frame by frame, to understand how evil hides in plain sight. To understand what we are seeing, we must first understand where we are. This is Obersalzberg, a mountain complex that Hitler declared his home. It wasn't just a holiday house, it was the second seat of power for the Reich, after Berlin. The Berghof, his main residence, was more than a house. It was a stage. The famous great window, which could be lowered, wasn't just for the view. It was a statement of power. Hitler received ambassadors and prime ministers here, using nature itself as a backdrop for his image. Here he saw himself as Wotan, a warrior god from Norse mythology, looking down on the mortal world. It was a carefully constructed self-mythology, and this place was his temple. And above it all, literally, was the Kehlstein House, which the Allies nicknamed the Eagle's Nest, a 50th birthday gift from Martin Bormann, an engineering marvel, accessible only by a treacherous road and a golden elevator that rose 124 meters through solid rock. The place was a symbol of the regime's arrogance and total isolation. Look at these scenes. Easter, 1938. Children hunting for eggs on top of the world. A scene of innocence in a place built by megalomania. The context makes this even darker. This Easter of 1938 happened just 1 month after the Anschluss, the annexation of Austria. While Hitler celebrated with children, the first domino of the war had already fallen to popular acclaim. This place was a bubble, a filtered world. The world's press was brought here to see the humanized Führer, the gentle neighbor, the animal lover. But it was also here, on long walks, that the darkest decisions were made. The Berghof was not a retreat from war. It was its incubator. And who is documenting all of this? The owner of the camera was Eva Braun. For over a decade, she was Adolf Hitler's secret mistress. The German public had no idea she existed. She was Fräulein Braun, a phantom presence. Her films are her perspective, and what does she choose to focus on? Leisure, fashion, friends, family. She films her sisters, Ilse and Gretel. She films her parents, Friedrich and Franziska. She films herself constantly, posing, swimming, laughing. It is the visual diary of a woman living a life of extreme privilege, but also of complete isolation. Her world was apolitical by design. Hitler reportedly forbade serious political discussions in her presence. Eva's role was to be the hostess, to create an atmosphere of normalcy and fun. And she performed it with dedication. She was the queen of this isolated kingdom. but it was a kingdom with no real power. She was a distraction, a human decoration whose sole purpose was to make the Führer relax. Look at this moment, a silly game with hats. Eva swaps her hat with one of the guests. The man who steps in to help tie the hat on Eva, laughing, is Dr. Karl Brandt, one of Hitler's personal physicians. A moment of pure levity. What Eva may not have known or chose to ignore is that this same Dr. Brandt would become the leader of Action T4, the Nazi euthanasia program that murdered over 70,000 disabled Germans. The man who gently ties a hat on his friend is the same man who authorizes the murder of children in gas chambers. Normalcy here is not just a mask, it is a psychological weapon. The Berghof was an exclusive club. If you were here, you were in. You were part of the king's court. And Eva Braun's home movies are a who's who of the Nazi elite. But she doesn't film them as monsters. She films them as weekend guests. Joseph Goebbels. We see Eva greet him warmly, the Reich's master of propaganda, the man responsible for poisoning an entire nation's mind with anti-Semitism and hatred. Here, he is just a pleasant guest, arriving for coffee.
Und für eine gute Regierung auch eine gute Propaganda betreiben. Das eine gehört zum anderen. Eine gute Regierung ohne Propaganda kann ebenso wenig bestehen wie eine gute Propaganda ohne eine gute Regierung.
The contrast between this man smiling as he steps out of the car and the fanatic demagogue screaming at crowds in Berlin is total. Both were the same person. Martin Bormann. We see him holding up a hat, almost as a comic prop. Hitler's shadowy gatekeeper, the ruthless bureaucrat who controlled all access to the Führer, manipulating him and hoarding immense power behind the scenes. A dark figure, here reduced to a moment of silliness. Albert Speer, seen here with his wife, Margaret, the architect of the Reich. The man who, at Nuremberg, would present himself as the good Nazi, the apolitical technocrat who was just following orders. His home movies show him relaxing and socializing. Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away, slave laborers were dying by the thousands, building his monumental projects and armament factories. The ignorance he claimed was a lie. The Berghof was his social alibi. The court is all here. Hermann Esser, one of Hitler's oldest comrades, Adolf Wagner, the Gauleiter of Munich, Heinrich Hoffmann, the official photographer who crafted Hitler's public image, and, ironically, first introduced Eva to him. And then, we have this footage. Let's pause here. This is, quite possibly, the most shocking footage in the entire archive. In broad daylight, chatting casually on the terrace like old friends at a barbecue. The man in glasses, in the center, Heinrich Himmler. The Reichsführer SS, the architect of the Holocaust, the man responsible for the concentration camp system, for the Einsatzgruppen death squads, the biggest mass murderer in modern history. There is nothing in his body language that hints at his identity. He doesn't look like a monster, he looks like a teacher, a public servant. This is exactly the image he cultivated. Next to him, Reinhard Heydrich, Himmler's right-hand man, the head of the Gestapo and the SD, the Butcher of Prague. The man who would soon chair the Wannsee Conference, where the final solution was formalized in bureaucratic terms. These are the two men most directly responsible for the industrialized murder of millions of people. And they are sunbathing, They are in civilian clothes. They look like bank managers on a company retreat. With them is Karl Wolff, Himmler's liaison officer to Hitler, a man who facilitated the deportations to the death camps. If evil has a face, it is this. Not the face of a horned demon, it is the face of a neighbor, the face of normality. And that is infinitely more terrifying. Many of these films are timeless, hard to date. But this scene is precise. The date was noted by Eva or someone else, August 12, 1939. Look at the SS Honor Guard in formation, the white gloves, the discipline. The Berghof is no longer a leisure spot, it is a diplomatic stage. They are waiting for someone important. The man ascending the steps is Count Galeazzo Ciano, Italy's foreign minister and Mussolini's son-in-law. He is here for a tense meeting. Mussolini and Ciano are nervous. They know Hitler is determined to act against Poland, but Italy is not ready for war. Think about the context. August 12, 1939. We are just 19 days from the invasion of Poland, the event that will officially begin World War II. The entire world is holding its breath. While Ciano is inside, being told that Hitler's decision is irrevocable, life on the terrace continues. Hitler is seen here casually, looking at a photograph with a magnifying glass, the calm before the storm. Just 11 days after this scene was filmed, Hitler would shock the world by signing the Non-Aggression Pact with his mortal ideological foe, the Soviet Union, sealing Poland's fate. What we are watching here is the last gasp of European peace. The normalcy is over. Hitler, seen here in a suit and hat, is about to leave his mountain paradise and become a full-time warlord. The idyllic world Eva Braun tried to capture was about to be consumed by the fire her lover started. The philosopher Hannah Arendt, covering the trial of Adolf Eichmann in Jerusalem, coined the famous phrase, "the banality of evil." She described a man who was not a sadistic, fanatical monster, but a mediocre bureaucrat. A man more concerned with train schedules, with his career, and with following orders than with the morality of his actions. The fact that the packages his trains carried were human beings going to their deaths was an administrative detail. Eva Braun's films are the visual proof of Arendt's thesis. This is evil at home, evil on its day off, evil that likes dogs and is gentle with children. It is easy to demonize these figures. It is comfortable to see them as otherworldly monsters, fundamentally different from us. But these images deny us that comfort. They force us to see them as humans who committed monstrous acts. They were capable of what psychologists call compartmentalization, the ability to separate work, which for them was mass murder, from private life, the coffee on the terrace. Dr. Brandt could design the murder of the disabled, and on the same day, laugh at a joke. Himmler could write memos on the efficiency of gas chambers and then call home to wish his daughter a good night. This is what makes these images so terrifying. They act as a mirror. They force us to ask, what stops any normal person from doing the same? How thin is the line between civility and barbarism when propaganda is loud and the orders come from above? The paradise did not last. The Berghof, the stage for all this fabricated normalcy, was bombed by the Royal Air Force on April 25, 1945. Retreating SS troops set fire to what remained, so it would not fall into Allied hands. The camera woman and her protagonist would not die in the Alps. On April 29, 1945, deep in a damp concrete bunker beneath the ruins of Berlin, Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun were finally married. Less than 40 hours later, they committed suicide. Goebbels and his wife poisoned their 6 children before killing themselves. Himmler died by cyanide after being captured. Karl Brandt was tried at Nuremberg, convicted of crimes against humanity, and executed. Albert Speer, served 20 years in prison. Today, almost nothing remains of the Berghof. The ruins were demolished in 1952. The mountains remain indifferent to the history they witnessed. But Eva Braun's films survive. They are ghosts on celluloid, a chilling warning that evil rarely announces itself with thunder and lightning. Sometimes it arrives smiling, on holiday, enjoying the view, convinced of its own and terrifying normality.